name is James Clark. I'm from the United States, born and raised in San Francisco, live in Philadelphia. I've coached in the WNBA. I've coached a little bit in the NBA as a video coordinator with the Orlando Magic. I'm here basically to help, Coach Coco out as an advisor role and do some player development with the players, especially the young players that we got here. I did just do some research on the CLS Knights. You guys got a great fan base. I love that about the team. I love that you guys got a good nucleus of veterans on the team with Mario, Brian, and Duke playing all in the ABL. Then you got Freddie coming in, all new to the ABL league, and and then of course you got Sandy, the seasoned vet from the CLS Knights. He's been here pretty much throughout the organization from his youth up to now being an adult. So I'm very excited about the opportunity to come here and work with the CLS Knights and see what we can do. Hopefully get us this push, get us into the playoffs. Things you can't change is your effort. I think if the guys give out 100% effort, we'll win the game. We just got done having a meeting. It was my first meeting with Coco. Again, I just got here last night. So just learning about the team, learning what he's been dealing with. I think that's been the biggest thing that we've got to talk about with the team. I haven't been introduced to the team just yet. So I think tomorrow will be the first time that I actually get to sit down and talk with the team. But I think things we got to work on: limiting offensive rebounds, playing aggressive defense, executing our plays. I think that's one thing, especially come down to the fourth quarter. We got to execute our plays. We got to get in a better rhythm. From the games that I've watched, especially the games that they've lost, it's all come down to the fourth quarter. We haven't been blown out of any games, so that's good. It's always been something that we've kind of done ourselves. So, but leadership needs to, that's where leadership needs to come into play. And for me being a point guard, my point guard's got to be my leader. So me and Mario got to be on the same page, and Freddie's got to be ready to hit some clutch shots. And Brian as well. So, and then the young boy Jones, he got to keep his energy up. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Hopefully tomorrow we can come out with a W.
Ini Singapore Slingers, experience team, pengalamannya di atas kita, kayak gitu di liga ini ya, kayak begitu. Jadi kita harus ya tampilnya seperti kayak kemarin lawan Cina gitu, perfect, nggak ada sedikit pun kesalahan, karena sedikit kesalahan yang kita lakuin bakal di-convert jadi keuntungan buat mereka. Ya untuk sekarang ya saya pertolongan macam apa aja pasti bakal saya terima kayak gitu, entah itu advisor lah, entah itu tambahan asisten coach lah, whatever it is kayak begitu, karena fokus saya dan energi saya sekarang cuman saya curahin buat gimana bikin tim gua selalu bagus dan kita bisa outwork last game. Next game lawan Singapore Slingers, basketball god yang saya bilang bakal berpihak ke kita, karena dilihat dari semuanya pasti ya kita udah tahu klisenya Tuhan senang sama orang yang kerja keras, kayak begitu aja udah.
My name is James Clark of the CLS Knights. I'm inviting all my Surabaya fans to come check us out tomorrow night against the Singapore Slingers. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Be here in the house. Let's go. We're going to get this W tomorrow night.
Lawan Slinger, ini untuk yang ketiga kalinya ya otomatis rasa ingin menangnya sih pasti selalu ada kalau misalnya apalagi di home court gitu, mati-matian menang pasti ada, terus aura positif di sini juga banyak banget, dukungan dari fans juga banyak banget, semaksimal mungkin bakal kita lakuin apa yang game plan pelatih minta gitu loh.
Kalau dari pelatih kemarin kita ada kayak pattern baru, strategi baru pastinya. Jadi kita udah sering main sama mereka dan tentunya kita butuh apa ya istilahnya mereka udah tahu sebelumnya scouting kita strateginya apa yang dipakai, dan untuk yang ketiga ini pelatih ngasih pattern baru buat kita dari pelatih kayak gitu.
Untuk pemain barunya, big man-nya Slingers, kita harus waspadai juga. Dia lebih bagus di perimeternya, shootingnya juga lebih bagus, movingnya juga lebih bagus. Ya kita bakalan cover semaksimal mungkin lah, bakalan deep ke bawah besok.
Pastinya kita tahu kenapa diganti, pasti yang ini lebih bagus. Dia tinggi, dia pengalaman juga, itu ngasih ke Firman sama Roni, ngasih khusus buat mereka harus ekstra buat kerja keras lagi, effortnya lebih gede lagi. Ya sedikit banyak teman-teman yang nge-DM, yang chat teman-teman lama ataupun teman baru yang saya taunya di media sosial. Ya saya appreciate dengan dukungan mereka, support mereka ke saya pribadi khususnya kan. Thank you udah percaya supportnya, dan saya harap terus kayak gitu, nggak berubah meskipun kondisi istilahnya CLS lagi nggak bagus, lagi 5 kali kalah, dan justru kita butuh support dari kalian semua kayak gitu. Yo, Bombiku.
Halo Arif dan teman-teman di CLS Knights. Saya Bobby Saidi. Selamat berjuang di Asian Basketball League. Selalu semangat, tetap bermain sportif. Semoga di game selanjutnya bisa menjadi yang terbaik.
Surprise banget, thank you banget buat Bobby juga. Saya ngidolain SID dari SMA, dan ya appreciate banget lah kayak gini. Thank you.
Check, mic check. Mick's got his bag, so I'm gonna use both. Mic check. Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check. Mic check. 1, 2, mic check. Hello. Yes. Hello. Check. Mic check. High mix bustos.
Kayaknya kalau kita nonton pertandingan basket di Amerika kayaknya butuh sesuatu figur yang asik ya.
Dan untuk itu kita akan perkenalkan pertama kalinya.
Yes.
Maskot dari CLS Knights Indonesia, Goldie.
Please
Give it up for Goldie.
Our mascot Goldie.
Our Knights. Woi. Dia akan mendampingi kita selama pertandingan penuh.
Yes. Kasih tepuk tangan dong buat Goldie. Welcome Goldie.
Oh, our Knights.
Our new mascot.
Nanti asal tahu mau maskot dari CLS ada 2 jenis nanti ya.
Dua aja ya?
Ada 2 jenis.
Oke.
Satu yang bernama Goldie, seorang kesatria.
Satria, a knight.
Satu lagi nanti seorang entertain.
Oh.
Tapi tetap knights, tapi kostumnya nanti lebih fleksibel.
Asik.
Kalau ini kan lebih keren, lebih cool,
lebih gagah ya.
Jadi boleh pose ke sebelah sana, foto dulu, foto. Nah, foto dulu, foto.
Foto dulu. Yeah.
Foto. Ya.
Oke.
Kita geser dulu.
Iya. Maskotnya belum pijit ya? Masih kaku ya?
Masih kaku. Habis ini dia masak sudah.
Belum dibalsam.
Oke, Goldie ke samping dulu. 2 minutes, 2 menit lagi kita akan segera memperkenalkan tim dari kedua tim. Memperkenalkan pemain dari kedua tim.
Oke. We need your energy. We need your support. Kita
Putrajaya, Surabaya in Surabaya, Indonesia. It is the second largest city in the country with a population of 3 million residents, and it is known as the City of Heroes. As hundreds of fans lined up and thrilled to see their Knights play once again on their home floor against the Singapore Slingers. Good evening, everybody. I am Miguel Bustos, and joined in alongside, as we can see, the Singapore Slingers, as we can see the starting lineup of a Delvin Go. Of course, AJ Mandani leading in for the Singapore Slingers, the Filipino-Canadian playing for the Slingers. And the X-Man, Xavier Alexander, preparing his team to lead his team once again as we turn it over to the team announcer for the starting lineups.
Surabaya! This is our time! Introducing our team, CLS Knights Indonesia! Number 2, Rudy Lingganai. Number 11, Arif Hidayat. Number 13, Caleb Ramon Gemila. 16, Firman Dwi Nugroho. Number 18, Ibrahim Inggio. Number 24, Muhammad Saroni. And number 27, Bima Rizky Ardiansa. Are you ready? And this is the starting 5, CLS Knights Indonesia. Number 1, Frederick Legion Leach. Number 23, Dikory Aaron Jones. Number 33, Brian Michael Williams. Number 5, Mario Husan. And number 9, Sandy Febiansa. And head coach Koko Heru Setio Nugroho.
We have Blue Chief Michael Tolentino from Philippines, Umpire 1 Chao Hong Chen from Taipei, and Umpire 2 Yong Sam Chi from Malaysia, and Commissioner Ibnu Susilo from Indonesia. Gor Kertajaya, Gor CLS Knights Kertajaya, saya mohon untuk bangkit berdiri. Kita akan sama-sama menghormati lagu kebangsaan kita. So you may stand up and put off your hat, lepas topinya. Kita mau berdiri, kita mau menyanyikan bersama-sama lagu kebangsaan Indonesia Raya. The National Anthem Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Leto, Indonesia Raya.
Good evening once again. I am Miguel Bustos, and alongside is my partner calling the shots today, or breaking down the plays today, is Mikey Reyes. Hello, Mikey.
Good evening, Mix. Very exciting ball game here as we get ready. Of course, our teams are already warmed up as we see our referees, Mix.
Of course, the crew chief, Michael Tolentino from the Philippines, and his co-official Chen Chao-hung from Chinese Taipei, and T. Yong Shen from Malaysia.
Looking at both teams, Mix. Neither team is coming from the same path. Of course, different paths coming from the Philippines. Talking about the Singapore Slingers who got that convincing win against Tanduay Ala Pilipinas in Philippine soil. So that's a big confidence booster for the somewhat inconsistent Slingers. On the other side, the CLS Knights coming from China, going up against the Chongson Kung Fu Long Lions. It was a bit tough for them, but you know, given that they were the underdogs entering that ball game, they just really wanted to come out strong and nothing to lose mentality, and that helped them. Although they came up short, it's also a big confidence booster for the CLS Knights.
As we can see the team standings right now, both teams are at the middle of the pack. Speaking of the Singapore Slingers at 4-5, while the CLS Knights are currently having the longest losing streak in this season with 5 losses. Mikey, what do you think does the Knights need to do to be able to get a win today?
Of course, midway through the season, both teams wouldn't want again another loss, especially for the CLS Knights who are currently at 1-5. Getting this win though will help them close in on the West Sports Malaysia Dragons. But for the Singapore Slingers, especially now, placing is very important as we enter the quarter-final round of our season. Talking about the Slingers who entered the finals last season would want to keep on, be consistent and get win after win, and this is their chance to get back-to-back wins after that win against the Philippines.
And of course, Mikey, all teams are playing 20 games. The Singapore Slingers, this is their 10th game today, while the CLS Knights, they are on their 7th. Meanwhile, the Singapore Slingers, as you mentioned earlier, they won against Tanduay Ala Pilipinas by a big win on the Ala Pilipinas' home floor, and what a way for AJ Mandani to break out.
Of course, AJ Mandani coming home to the Philippines, going up against the home team, the Tanduay Ala Pilipinas, really just slinging from the outside, and we will see if he can continue that onslaught on the offensive end here against the CLS Knights.
All right, as we begin action today, the Knights missed their first shot. The X-Man controlling the pace. Mandani rejects a pick from Chris Charles. Charles once again to Delvin Go. Spins, moves inside. No good. Offensive rebound once again. 6 seconds left on the shot clock for the Slingers. Chris Charles, the 2-time World Import MVP, gets the first bucket to go.
Great effort there for Delvin Go, getting that offensive rebound and finding AJ Mandani, who attacks the basket and gives it to an open Chris Charles.
And Brian Williams answers his own three-pointer to put up the Knights on the board.
That's the biggest problem going up against Brian Williams. He can shoot from the outside. Being stocky as he is and powerful as he is, he can control the paint and even contribute from the outside.
As Chris Charles makes this shot, 4 points already for the 2-time World Import MVP.
Right away, our matchup of the game, Chris Charles, and of course Brian Williams going at it on the offensive end.
And speaking of heroes, this is a local hero in Mario Wusang. He was part of the 2012 Indonesian Warriors champion team when they beat the San Miguel Beermen in that season of the ABL. Charles to Ha Han Bin. Goes for the left-hand layup, and it's good. No help right there for the defense of the CLS Knights.
Han Bin, known as a shooter, of course, being closed out right away by Wuisang there. Takes the ball on the floor and attacks the basket for that easy layup.
And turns it over are the Knights. The X-Man slowing down the pace. Kicks it out to AJ Mandani. Mandani to Ha Han Bin. Again to the X-Man. Passes it up to the post and Delvin Go. Go powers his way up. And with that fundamental left-hand finish.
Good recognition there for the Slingers, finding Delvin Go with a mismatch down low against the smaller defender, giving the ball up to him and clearing space to give him room to operate.
Mikey, for you, what is the most important thing that the Knights need to focus on today?
Well, of course, for the Knights, we all know that they can score the ball at an efficient pace or a fast pace, having so many weapons. But being able to move the ball like this and getting easy baskets will be very important for the Knights, because on the other side, talking about the Singapore Slingers, I asked Coach Neo and they said defense is their focus.
And so far, the Slingers have been playing great defense as Sandy Curniawan gets that layup to go to slim this lead down to 1. And the Slingers so far have been playing great defense but fell asleep on this one. How about the offense of the Knights?
Well, of course, every time you double the basketball, you know someone's going to be open. And so the rotation must be quick to find or locate the open man.
Next man gives it up to Delvin Go.
Delvin Go just really having his way down low against the smaller defenders. And that's also thanks to Chris Charles, who is gaining more of the attention from the defenders.
Now, Mikey, you've had a stint with the Slingers as Sandy Curniawan gets that 3-point bucket to go. You played with the Slingers over the summer in the Merlion Cup. How are these guys as teammates?
Well, of course, talking about the Slingers, they've been together for a while now, especially X-Man, who's been there for a few years already. They have a few new pieces in Mandani and Chris Charles, but ultimately, the players have the chemistry that you need. Of course, they have been performing consistently here in the ABL.
Speaking of chemistry, the Slingers are just really rotating that ball well, while the Knights play better defense. As an alley-oop to decorate Jones. Great pass right there from Freddie Leash.
This is what the Slingers should watch out for once the crowd gets into it. It's a hostile environment here for the CLS Knights. So once the crowd gets into it, it will be tougher to score baskets.
And they forgot to box out Chris Charles right there.
And again, they go down to Delvin Go, who attacks the basket or attacks his man right away. And because of his aggressiveness, giving Chris Charles a chance to get that offensive board and put back.
Curniawan gets a pick from Jones. Jones posts up on his own for 3, no good. Rebound Singapore. The X-Man 3-on-2 break. Takes it out to Mandari. Pull up 3. And still offensive rebound for the Slingers. The X-Man on the post. This is a mismatch, Mikey. Alan Bin, number 17 for 3. That's good.
This is exactly what we were saying. Han Bin, known as a 3-point shooter for the Singapore Slingers. They're showing his offensive arsenal, hitting that open top of the key 3-pointer.
Sang. Back again to Jones. Jones with a half hook. Blocked by Chris Charles. Brian Williams powers his way in and gets that and one play. Chris Charles committing his first foul.
Like what we were saying, Brian Williams more used to playing down. Of course, he can hit jumpers from the outside, but being able to control the paint, that's what Brian Williams is used to doing. And right there, getting that offensive rebound or off that block from Chris Charles, getting that ball. And here, an end one opportunity for Brian Williams.
And Brian Williams, this guy has been teammates with Duke Cruz in the University of Tennessee in the NCAA Division I. Played against Derrick Rose, one of the great guards in the NBA. Chris Charles. Slingers setting up their offense. Charles at the post. Give and go. Delvin Go. And down low again to Delvin Go. No good, but Chris Charles gets that handle. And the Knights are looking to run this. Jones goes to his left. Pull up in the short corner. Too strong on that play. And the Slingers get the ball once again.
And play goes on here, Miggs. Forced shot there coming from Jones. A little bit too early in the shot clock as Han Bin again takes a 3 and hits it. Thanks to the patience of Chris Charles getting that ball, looking for open men.
And you mentioned Mikey, you cannot leave the Slingers wide open from the 3-point land. They can be deadly.
Of course, having so many weapons from the outside, talking about the Slingers. But here, Mario Wuisa again reintroducing himself as if we don't already know the legend from Indonesia. Mario Wuisa with another floater here.
Call right there. Delvin Go push it off, got away with it, and great pull-up jump shot and assists from the X-Man.
Still, Delvin Go really balling here in the first quarter, really being aggressive, knowing the mismatch is on him, and it's his job to be aggressive and try to score baskets every time he gets the basketball.
And Mikey, one more notable player from the CLS Knights is Rudy Linganay. This guy has been balling in the Philippines, been around in the collegiate and professional ranks, and been around also in the ABL.
Of course, very well known in the ABL community. Talking about Rudy Linganay, the lefty from the Philippines who can score, who can control the tempo and create baskets. Just the way Mario Wuisang does. Here he tried to split the defense, although it hit the foot of Delvin Go. The ball stays with the CLS Knights. And we are back here at the Gor Kertajaya Surabaya for ABL action once again. It is the Knights, CLS Knights against the Singapore Slingers as they are up by 3 points, 20-17. Ball stays with the Knights with that kickball violation. Kurniawan to Williams at the right wing, passes it up to Jones at the post. Jones with a jump shot. No good as the Slingers get the basketball once again. This is what Chris Charles brings to the table for the Singapore Slingers, being that defensive presence down low, making it tough for the imports of the other team to attack the basket.
And a defensive presence, this two-time Defensive Player of the Year for the ABL. No stranger also to offense, as you can go to him down low. Just a force, this 7-footer for the Slingers.
Great up and under there for Chris Charles. Of course, replacing Ryan Wright midway through the season. Ryan Wright was actually performing well, although Chris Charles really just offers a different dynamic for the Singapore Slingers.
Hanbin for three once again. Hanbin Nang with his third three-pointer. And Coach Coco from the CLS Knights is forced to take another timeout. Perhaps the biggest lead of the game. Hanbin Nang with 11 points. He has been deadly. I thought, Mikey, that the X-Man will, take over early on in the game.
This is the best thing about the X-Man. He's not really that. He doesn't really need the basketball to contribute. If he sees that his teammates are getting hot or are making shots, he is willingly going to pass the ball to his open teammates. And right now, Hanbin has really controlled the basketball game offensively along with Delvin Go. So both locals have really helped out, and this will be good for the Slingers because their imports are actually conserving energy, of course, for the later portions of this ball game.
And now Coach Neo Bangxiang with this quick adjustment, going for a full-court press of his own. Mario Wuisang getting a little bit of different treatment from the defensive side. Brian Williams on the post against Chris Charles, banging up down low, and that is the toughness of Brian Williams down low.
Of course, Chris Charles and Brian Williams is really trying to get the best out of each other, knowing they respect each other, so they will go hard against each other.
Once again, X-Man to Hanbin down for three.
This is exactly what we were saying with the X-Man, having the vision and knowing who is hot in his team. Finding Hanbin again for his fourth triple of the first quarter.
And speaking of threes, this is the team shooter, Sandy Kurniawan, airball on that shot. The X-Man on the open break. Foul and a bucket. The X-Man just delivering for the Singapore Slingers.
Efficiency of the X-Man. 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. That was his first shot, and he makes it an end-one opportunity here for the X-Man. Again, helping out in all aspects of the basketball game here with his hero step, knowing that Weisang has no chance in stopping him, and knowing that Weisang will foul him, having the focus to finish the play, and here having the opportunity to finish the three-point play.
Now, Mikey, you've played with the X-Man during your stint in the Merlion Cup. How is he in practice? Is he usually a beast?
He just really leads the team, both vocally and, of course, by action or by example. He really tries to come in early, get shots up, knowing that his weakness may be his jumper, but he is really improving year by year.
And again, the X-Man gets the steal on that defensive stop. The X-Man going right, left. Chris Charles gets that offensive board, and a big run by the Singapore Slingers made that an 8-2 or 10-2 run by the Slingers. Williams on the post, double team, kicks it out, almost turnover. Jones on the short corner, no good, gets his own rebound. Jones pulling up from free throw distance, and finally the Knights get a bucket.
Jones has been somewhat settling for outside jumpers, knowing that Chris Charles is waiting down low to challenge his drives. But he made that shot, cutting this lead down to 12.
And that's Caleb Gamilang checks in the ball game. The X-Man playing the point. 12-point lead enjoyed by the Slingers. Less than 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Once again, we are here at the Gor Kertajaya Surabaya in Surabaya, Indonesia for ABL action. As a foul is called on a Slingers player, that is Gamilang, number 13 from the Knights.
One of the more experienced players here for the Singapore Slingers, or in the entire ABL. Talking about Desmond O, who has played for the ABL since the first season. Now on his 8th season, both the ABL and Desmond O have really evolved, and we will see how Desmond O can contribute here for the Slingers.
Well, he's been there since day one,
since
8 years.
Since day one.
A rare turnover now by the Slingers, as the Knights have a chance to get their own version of a momentum to be able to close out well in the first quarter. Bringing down the ball, the Knights once again looking for Williams to Gamilang. Gamilang dribbles left. Turnover, again fast break opportunity for the Slingers, but then overstates that one. But the X-Man recovers. Charles, he's just a force down low, Mikey. How do you stop this guy?
You can't teach height, Migs, and he really uses his height to his advantage, knowing that no one can really challenge him up top. He really brings the ball high right away and scores off those gimmies.
And loose ball foul called on Brian Williams.
So really the first thing that the Knights need to adjust is how to defend Chris Charles. Sometimes they stop the X-Man, they stop the locals, they stop the other players, but the length of Chris Charles just getting those offensive boards or those loose balls and scoring down low.
And if you're the Knights, just have to pick your poison as the X-Man kicks it out. And time expires here in the first quarter. Then the Singapore Slingers lead by 14 points, 35-21, led by Han Bing Nang with 14 points. And of course, the X-Man, as you can see, Chris Charles leading the break for the Slingers. We will be back right after this. Coach Neo Ban Sham, an experienced coach, has been leading the Slingers for a while with manager and assistant coach Michael Johnson. As we can see, the Indonesian faithful supporting their CLS Knights.
Of course, talking about Coach Neo, really being the mind behind the Singapore Slingers. And Coach Coco from the CLS Knights, Brian Williams actually describes him as a player's coach. Now, Mikey, you've been around also in leagues in the Philippines. How important is it, for you to have a coach that understands you and, just really gets to know what's on your mind?
Well, of course, that'll be really good for your confidence and knowing that you can approach your coach anytime you want. If you have questions, if you have concerns, it'll be easy for you to approach your coach and talk to him about wanting to win. And of course, all of us, all players and all coaches have one goal, and that is to win. And if you have to help each other out, then being able to have that figure that you can talk to will really help, of course, with the results of your team.
Now, Mikey, this CLS Knights is a very talented team, individually and skill-wise. How do you think is confidence going to be a big factor in them, going back in this game?
Well, of course, they have a lot of offensive weapons. They have their imports in Rudy Linganay, they have Brian Williams, they have Freddie Leash. So these guys will be the ones to carry the anchor on offense. But their locals can also play, talking about the Knights. So they may be 8th right now out of 9 teams, but we all know that the potential is there, and that really doesn't give justice to how these Knights play.
Chris Charles as Han Bing Nang gets the offensive rebound. Delvin go with that rare turnover as the Knights push it. Williams against Charles. Williams to Jones. Thinks about it. Pushes it up. No good as Williams gets that offensive rebound. Sandy on the paint. Turnover again for the Knights as the X-Man slows it down as Delvin Go pushes it up on the timeline. Han Bin Nang to Chris Charles against Brian Williams. Now this is a matchup, a monster matchup that we've been waiting for. Han Bin Nang wants to pull up the X-Man from rainbow distance. And too strong for the Slingers as the Knights get it back.
Of course, that shot there from the X-Man Xavier Alexander, like I said, he practices that shot day in, day out. You can actually go to the arena anytime you want and just really get shots up every day, and that's exactly what Xavier Alexander does. That's why he shoots those threes with more confidence nowadays.
A great defense by the X-Man right there on the three-point attempt. The transition offense going well. Nang to Mandani for 3. And this guy is such a sharpshooter.
And you really have to love the ball movement there. 2 cross-court passes coming from Xavier Alexander over to Han Bin and over again to Mandani for that open three-pointer. And again, they are making shots here, and the confidence of the Slingers is just sky high here in the first half.
Now AJ Mandani scored 11 points in that 4th quarter with that big win against Tanduay Alab Pilipinas. He's a catch-and-shoot guy. He can go also off the dribble. And just a big thing for the Slingers.
And this is the luxury that Coach Neo has, having locals who contribute as well. It'll be tough for opposing teams, knowing that, yes, they have to focus on the imports, but the locals can also kill you.
As you mentioned, Jones settling for the outside jumpers, but then good thing for Brian Williams, he gets to recycle those plays. As he got double teamed, he got the contact, he got the foul, 2 free throws for Brian Williams.
And this is what Brian Williams needs to do. He has the heft advantage or the weight advantage against Chris Charles, and he has to bang him down low a little bit more and get those fouls from Chris Charles.
And it is height versus weight in this head-to-head matchup, Charles versus Williams. But then do you think, Mikey, that this banging in the down low can wear you out sometime, when you come into the second half?
Well, of course, being Chris Charles, being bumped and bullied down low by someone who is basically heavier than you, that'll be tough. Of course, the fatigue factor will come in. So I think what Brian Williams needs to do is to just continue to control the paint for the CLS Knights.
And controlling the action right now is Mandani. 17-point lead by the Slingers, the X-Man. Mandani playing the post. Spin move to the baseline. Delvin Go to the X-Man. Left wing 3. No good. Williams gets that board and all the go back to the CLS Knights.
But still a good shot for the Slingers. An open three-pointer there for Xavier Alexander. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. But really, the ball movement of the Slingers, the CLS Knights need to control.
Hidayat. Decorate Jones signaling the play once again, goes or wants to go to Brian Williams, but a little bit of miscommunication down low.
Jones wanted Williams to stay right there, but then Williams cut to the other side. Ball again to the Slingers.
The receiver wasn't ready and the passer just lets it go. So not the best start here for the Knights. 38-21 with 7 minutes to go here in the second. So we will see how Coach Coco will adjust. And here, Xavier Alexander gets it down low. Knows that he has the advantage. And one again for Xavier Alexander, the X-Man, really taking control here in the first half.
And taking control is the X-Man. 5 points, 2 rebounds. You can see that brute strength, that experience against Desiree Jones, against the X-Man, Xavier Alexander, going for a 6-point, and that is good for the X-Man. 19-point lead for the Slingers right now.
And the energy that the X-Man brings to the table for the Slingers, it's contagious. The X-Man knows how to play defense, knows how to play offense, and the energy that he brings in, he just really brings a lot for Coach Neo's team.
And great spin move, up and under move by Brian Williams. He recognized that double team down low by Delvin Go, but then turns it other way for another point by Brian Williams.
Again, Brian Williams asking for the basketball, knowing that he has, again, the weight advantage against Chris Charles. Really bringing Chris Charles down low and using his footwork to make baskets.
And playing extended minutes for Williams and Desiree Jones. 13 minutes so far in the ball game. The Slingers are up by 20 points. Mandani guarded by Sandy Cornyawan. To the X-Man. Drives baseline, kicks it out to Charles. Turnover, and running the break are the Knights. Huisang. There's a double by Alexander to Williams. Dribble to the left, dribble to the middle. Brian Williams once again gets that foul bait, and he will go back to the free throw line.
Brian Williams just really being aggressive and active here in the second quarter, especially offensively. This time from the outside, putting the ball on the floor and attacking whoever is man enough to get in his way.
Do you think, Mikey, that it is a good idea for Williams to start up top so that Charles would go up and create that mismatch on the speed?
Of course, that's a good opportunity also for Brian Williams, knowing that he can hit that outside jumper. Chris Charles needs to come out at him from the three-point line. And again, like you said, that takes Chris Charles away from the basket, taking away his shot blocking ability.
And of course, Brian Williams has to play 2 positions. You know, the center, maybe the guard for him to be able to do that, but then turnover, miscommunication again on the offense on the part of the Knights. Mandani, Han Bin Nang, the X-Man with that weave at the middle. Han Bin Nang, guarded by Huisang, gets that pick from Charles. Han Bin Nang with the pull-up, sidestep, no good as Williams gets that board again. Huisang running the break. Huisang with a floater. Too short on that play. The X-Man, Alexander, thinks about it. Gives it up to Delvin Go, to Charles at the middle. He can hit that jump shot, too strong, but an offensive rebound again, once again, to the Slingers.
And Chris Charles getting that offensive rebound despite him taking that outside shot. So that's a big miscommunication again for the CLS Knights in terms of who to box out.
And so far, the momentum is slowly shifting the Knights' way as Chris Charles is called for the offensive foul.
The Knights have been making stops, but they've been having problems scoring the basketball. Only 25 points here with 5 minutes halfway through our second quarter.
And what is important for the Knights right now, Mikey, I think you would agree that they cannot just afford to trade baskets. They have to be able to get stops and at the same time convert to get a run.
Of course, being down 16, you have to be aggressive on offense and also on defense, really trying to pressure the basketball, getting those steals and getting those easy baskets on the other end.
Huisang got away with that kickball violation again. Ball stays with the Knights. Pull-up jumper from Gemilang. Fakes it up, his defender, but gets his own rebound. And again, this mini run by the Knights is slowly working for them.
And the activity of Brian Williams again giving them another shot at the basket, tapping that ball towards his teammate. And his teammate, of course, finishing the play with 2 points.
Slingers moving the ball. Delvin Go at the post with his hook shot. A typical fundamental big man move, or make that, excuse me.
Russell Lowe. Of course, Russell Lowe playing with him also. He really has the footwork, and you can really give him the basketball down low and letting him play his game. And that's exactly what he did there, finishing with that jump hook.
Mario Wuisang gets away with the defenders against Russell Lowe, or make that Russell Lowe. The X-Man, left-hand layup, goes out.
Too much English there for Xavier Alexander. But again, these are the stops that the CLS Knights need to be able to catch up to this lead.
And that is true. The lead was once 20 points, down to 14. 4:19 remaining in the second quarter. As we have a timeout on the play, we will be right back. Well, good evening to all the ABL fans. If you're just tuning into us right now, we are here at Surabaya, Indonesia, for the Singapore Slingers and the CLS Knights. Currently, the Slingers have a 2-0 record against the CLS Knights. They have one more game to play after this, and the Slingers are up top by 13 points. As Nguyo makes 1 out of 2 from the line.
I think it's also important for the CLS Knights to try and tire the X-Man out. Of course, the X-Man usually plays all 40 minutes for the Slingers, and being able to tire him out or over-fatigue the X-Man will really help the cause of the CLS Knights.
And so far, so good for the CLS Knights. Wuisang again runs a break and hypes up the crowd. Momentum slowly shifting to the CLS Knights.
Mario Wuisang, or Super Mario, with that crossover move, using his body to shield the basketball and finishing the play. Mario Wuisang is not an Indonesian legend for nothing.
And he is no stranger to big games. This guy has been around the world, played for the University of Indiana in the United States.
Of course, the national team of Indonesia.
As I mentioned earlier, also part of that Indonesia Warriors champion team back in 2012. What was once a 20-point lead is now down to 10. Slingers up 43-33. Go. Or make that Russell Lowe with the basketball. Lowe gives it up to X-Man. No presence of a Chris Charles right here. Small ball for the Slingers. The X-Man pull up, no good. As the Knights again running the break. Sandy Kurniawan with a left-hand layup. That's good. And it is a single-digit ball game.
And Sandy Kurniawan, known as an outside sniper, being able to finish that fast break play with that challenged layup. And here we will see where the Singapore Slingers will go to.
And that is defense turning into offense for the CLS Knights. Gang rebounding for them. That is why, Mikey, they're able to get back in this game, trim it down to 8 points.
And that's exactly what they need to do, is to be aggressive both on offense and defense. Here they double the X-Man, although there was a foul down low, but you see the aggressiveness or the change of momentum and the energy of the CLS Knights since going on to this run.
Delvin go against Williams. Delvin go drives to the left. Again with the familiar left-hand layup. No good. Gang rebounding again by the CLS Knights. And they have this basketball. Super Mario Thinks about it.
The crowd getting into it, Migs.
That's true. Wuisang pulls it up. Too strong on that play. The X-Man again running the break. Alexander to the left, to the right. Pull-up jump shot. He can hit that. Too strong, but Williams again ganging up for that rebound. I believe this guy has no rest yet.
Again, another opportunity here for the CLS Knights to cut this lead. And Freddie Leash with that pull-up. Right dribble and pulls up knowing that the big man is waiting for him down low. Cuts this lead down to 6, and Coach Neo calls this timeout for the Singapore Slingers.
A 10-2 run enjoyed by the CLS Knights. Freddie Leash, pull-up jump shot, makes Russell Lowe pay. Trims this lead down to a 2-possession ball game. Timeout, Singapore Slingers. And this was the play that started that run. Mario Wuisang evading the defenders from that great defense by the Knights. Super Mario getting in on that action, and that is why all of his teammates right now, we were talking about this, Mikey, a while ago about the confidence. Suddenly that shifted towards the Knights.
Well, of course, scoring easy baskets. Well, they weren't really easy because all of those baskets were challenged. But the defense, they're gaining confidence from their defense, getting steals, making it tough for the Singapore Slingers to attack the basket. And this is when the CLS Knights will try to make another run off this timeout.
And I think that run, Mikey, was a big factor that Chris Charles was out and Coach Neo Bangshang opting to stick with his small man lineup. Slingers enjoying a 6-point lead. Go. Desmano hands it off to the X-Man. Alexander, guarded by Sandy Kurnawan, gets a pick from Russell Lowe. One-on-one play, but then gets that foul, hard foul from Brian Williams.
But this foul will be better than the last one because the X-Man not really being able to get that shot up. Brian Williams knowing that Xavier Alexander is strong enough to complete 3-point plays. And that time, the hefty big man of the CLS Knights making sure that Xavier Alexander will have to earn his points from the line.
And speaking of earning points, he has only made 2 field goals today. 7 points currently for Xavier Alexander. 7 points and 4 rebounds for him. 1 out of 2 for the X-Man. Freddie Leash, the Super Mario. Manning the floor, Leash. Drives baseline, kicks it out to the shooter. Kurnawan for 3. Slingers running the break again. Alexander. And that is a duty foul if you're Mario Wuisang, if Alexander's running the break like that.
Well, of course, Alexander getting that 3-point play. The last time they went one-on-one on the break. This time, Mario Wuisang, knowing that he has that strength disadvantage, making sure that he holds on to the ball or holds on to Xavier Alexander's arms strong enough for him not to be able to hit that shot.
And Mario Wuisang waited for the ball to go down to be able to foul him appropriately. And currently the X-Man is having some free throw trouble. Already 3 misses from that area.
This is what Coach Neo was saying. They know that the CLS Knights can put points on the board quickly and efficiently. This is when defense comes into play for the Singapore Slingers.
And as X-Man splits the charities, extends this lead back to 8. Williams on the post once again. That double is there once again. Leash on the short corner, still too strong. Offensive rebound goes to the Knights. Sandy Kurnawan kicks it to Freddie Leash at the left wing. Leash with 10 seconds left to go. Williams at the high post. Williams gets that foul. And we'll have to check if the Slingers are on the penalty. And if they are, it means that Williams will go back to the free throw line.
And again, the recognition of the CLS Knights, seeing a that Brian Williams was going up against the smaller Russell Lowe down low, giving it to Brian Williams and giving him space to operate. And Brian Williams just knowing what to do with the basketball, getting that foul off Russell Lowe.
And true enough, the Slingers are on the penalty. Williams makes both. Williams currently now with 10 points, almost a double-double with 8 rebounds to go with that. Coach Liu Bangshang opting to still sit out Chris Charles, maybe for the remainder of the second quarter. Han Bin Nang. Oh, don't leave him wide open. Han Bin Nang, too strong in that play.
After that 14-point first quarter of Han Bin Nang, really just cooling down here in the second, not hitting a shot yet. But you can also credit the defense of the CLS Knights.
And great recognition down low by Freddie Leash. That was kind of a dangerous pass down low. I thought he was going for that basket, but then he found Brian Williams, the hot streak of Brian Williams. As he gets that contact again, he will go back to the free throw area.
Again, Brian Williams just knowing where to go at the right place at the right time. But his free throw shooting was wasted points for the CLS Knights.
Well, you kind of see him limping down low, maybe because of the fatigue. We haven't seen him rest all game long, as he is currently or consistently going back to that free throw line. Han Bin Nang, of course, decides to pull back. No teammates left. Looking for Alexander. 14 left on the shot clock. They can go for 2 for 1 if you're the Slingers. Alexander, 5 seconds left. Han Bin Nang pulls it up for 3. Kind of ice cold right there after exploding for 14 points. And the Knights, Mikey, have a chance to be able to close this quarter out strong as Coach Coco of the CLS Knights takes this timeout. Check that, Mikey. It was Coach Liu Bangshang who called the timeout. Perhaps he designed a effective defensive play to be able to prevent the Knights and be able to convert on this last possession going into halftime.
And that big lead by the Singapore Slingers coming into the second quarter just basically erased by the CLS Knights, and really a collective effort. Wei Sang, Lish, Brian Williams, and of course Sandy Pernyawan just really cutting into this lead.
Williams fakes his defenders, goes for that handoff, asks for a foul, but not called right there. But then nonetheless, the Knights will get that ball back. Mikey, what can you say about that misdirection of Brian Williams on that play?
Just really being agile enough, big enough, but also agile enough to attack the basket with his quickness and using his strength to complete the basket.
2 seconds left. Wei Sang double team. Wei Sang has to pull this one up. And still on a good note for the CLS Knights. What was once a 20-point lead, they slimmed this down to 3 points thanks to the efforts, thanks to the credits by Brian Williams. And at the half, the Slingers are up by 3 points, 45-42. We will be right back. one of the great plays right there with the CLS Knights, Freddie Leash. This alley-oop play to Decorate Jones. That connection by the Knights. Delvin Go, one of the early factors for the Singapore Slingers as he scored 6 points as Chris Charles, the two-time World Import MVP, the latest addition to the Slingers.
Of course, it's been really a game of runs here for both teams. The first quarter was controlled by the Singapore Slingers, but entering the second, the aggressiveness both on offense and defense really helping out the CLS Knights, cutting into this lead. Now they enter halftime only down by 3, and the momentum is with them.
And that guy Han Bin Nang exploded for 14 first quarter points, but Chris Charles just a force down low. Xavier Alexander and the former Saigon Heat Chris Charles and Brian Williams, this heft, the brute force. It is weight versus height, as you mentioned, Mikey, this head-to-head matchup by Charles and Williams.
The CLS Knights really just finding their groove in that second quarter, knowing where to go. And Mario Woisang, again, the legend of Indonesia, the Indonesian basketball program here, breaking ankles and converting, uses his body to get that foul and one for Mario Woisang. And here, Xavier Alexander not being able to hit his shots from the outside yet. And of course, the CLS Knights taking advantage of every miss.
Failed multiple times to win definitely isn't something that easy to accept, but the regret and sadness aren't the choices. Don't focus on the failure, but focus on the purpose. Do your best. Make critic as stimulation to become stronger than ever. Answer all the scorn with achievement. Always remember not to let anyone else bring you down. The real knights are those who get up and work hard. Unite the spirit, unite our heart to reach our dreams. Always remember, result never betray the process. All night, let's rise and fight for Indonesia.
Cek, mic, cek. Mic-nya aman ya, udah gua bisa kasih ke konverternya ya. Oh, ini aman berarti ya?
Good evening once again. It is the 14th of January here at Surabaya, Indonesia. This is Mix Bustos on the call today with my partner Mikey Reyes. Mikey, it has been a hell of a first half. The Slingers led by 20 points at 41-21, but the CLS Knights now trimmed this lead down to 3 points.
But like we said again, it's been a game of fronts. Coming into this ball game, the Singapore Slingers really being aggressive and active both on offense and defense. But come the second quarter, seeing the CLS Knights adjust to, of course, the big 20-point lead of the Singapore Slingers, trying to put in more effort both on offense and defense also, and getting this lead down to 3.
And as mentioned earlier, Han Bin Nang and Desmond, or make that Delvin go, were the key guys for the Slingers. As Mikey, you can break the numbers down low.
Like we said, only down by 3 are the CLS Knights. Are rebounding, both with 19 rebounds apiece, of course, thanks to Brian Williams. On the other side, Chris Charles, our assist ratio, our assist naman, 10 for the Singapore Slingers, 7 for the CLS Knights, of course. 5 coming from Xavier Alexander, again the X-Man contributing a lot for the Slingers, not only on offense, but also just setting his teammates up.
And to go with that, both of them have 13 and 12 offensive rebounds each, as we turn it over to Killy, who spoke with the new team advisor of the CLS Knights, James Clark.
It's your girl Keely G. Right now I am introducing someone new. His name is James Clark. So James, could you tell us more about your role and how you might help out for the CLS Knights?
Well, my role pretty much is being an advisor to Coco. You know, giving him some advice, whatever I can, whatever input I could give him, and also to work with the players, doing a little player development. As you saw me before the game, getting the guys loose, doing a lot of drills, and I was referred to through a friend, and Chris gave me a call, and here I am.
And now you're here.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so CLS Knights, we have a new coach advisor. So James, what do you think CLS Knights should amp up more on the second game to keep the pressure going for the Slingers?
Well, I think we did a good job in the second quarter of eliminating second chance opportunities. We did a lot better job on the defensive boards. And I think if we continue to do that, limit them to one shot only, and limit them in transition points, we're going to be fine. That's how we got back in the game. And I think if we could keep getting the ball into Brian and Rio keep going to the basket, I think we got this game.
All right, you heard it yourself, guys, from the advising coach, James Clark. Thank you so much, James, for your time. Back at you guys.
Much as the ABL have 4 imports on their team, how important is it, Mikey, to have a team consultant guiding the coaches as well?
Well, of course, we found out before this game that Coach James Carr also trained players like Ben Simmons of the Philadelphia 76ers. So that presence, that IQ and that mind, that basketball mind, is really going to be good for the CLS Knights. And before this game, we saw him training the different players of the CLS Knights, whether it be skills or talking to them, so mentally they'd be prepared. So a big boost for the CLS Knights here, down by 3 only.
And you were right, Mikey. Before the game started, Coach James just really focused on the individual skills of primarily of the big men of the CLS Knights. But then, Mikey, earlier, 20-point lead with the Singapore Slingers. What did they do right, speaking of the CLS Knights, to trim this lead down to 3?
Well, again, they were aggressive both on offense and defense. They were doubling the X-Man, they were doubling Chris Charles, and they're really rotating quick enough to make sure that Han Bin would not hit his outside shots anymore in the second quarter. As for the CLS Knights, they adjusted. But for the Singapore Slingers also, they need to bring that swag back that they lost in the second quarter. Coming from the first quarter, Han Bin scored 14 points. They really didn't score that much, or didn't score at all in the second quarter. So they really need to move that ball again better here coming the second half.
And we were talking about it earlier on the head-to-head matchup. It is height versus weight. Chris Charles versus Brian Williams. Now, Chris Charles had some ample rest, while Brian Williams practically did not rest all throughout the first half. How do you think this is going to be a big factor coming in to the second half for both teams?
Well, again, it's a really good matchup down low. Brian Williams with 14 points and 8 rebounds in 20 minutes. Like you said, he did not take a rest. As for Chris Charles, playing only 14 minutes, 12 points and 6 rebounds. So both players really contributing and controlling the paint for each other, for their respective teams. But again, like you said, 6 minutes played more for Brian Williams, and that'll be a problem if Brian Williams will be over fatigued coming the second half.
Now, right now, the X-Man currently is struggling all throughout this game. 8 points, but Han Bin Nang has been on fire, as we can see. The best highlight of the first half, that was an assist by AJ Mandani. As you can see the highlights, Han Bin Nang going to his left, fundamental finish for him.
And here, as we see Delvin go, also really being aggressive in the first quarter, attacking his guys, attacking his men, knowing that he has that height advantage.
On the other side, the ball movement coming from Leash to Jones, down here to Sandy for that easy lay-in.
Now, Mikey, earlier, Coach Neo Bang Shang stressed the importance of defense. Mikey, what do you think should be done right now, or what adjustments do you think that will be made in terms of defense for both teams?
Well, of course, the momentum right now is with the CLS Knights, and like we said, Coach Neo before this game told me that they scouted the CLS Knights, and they know that they can put points in bunches. So the defense of the Singapore Slingers will be tested again in the third quarter, and I'm sure they made a lot of adjustments coming out of the dugout.
And speaking of points in bunches, it was led by this guy, Mario, Super Mario Wuisang. We were talking about it earlier. This was the play that sparked that run. They even went to a 10-2 run to trim the lead down to single digits, as Xavier Alexander was struggling towards the end of that second quarter. Sandy Kurnawan, of course, a big factor also on that run for the CLS Knights, and Freddy Leash also leading the team for the CLS Knights.
Again, the imports of both teams really trying to take control, but the locals will be tested come in the second half. Of course, Han Bin Nang on the other side. You have a lot of Sandy is also there trying to hit shots from the outside. So we will see who will come out strong in the third quarter.
And of course, all the fans right here at Surabaya, Indonesia are pumped. They're thrilled to be able for their Knights to get back in this ball game. And after the break, we will start the third quarter of action between the Singapore Slingers and the CLS Knights. We will be right back.
Failed multiple times to win definitely isn't something that easy to accept, but the regret and sadness aren't the choices. Don't focus on the failure, but focus on the purpose. Do your best. Make critic as stimulation to become stronger than ever. Answer all the scorn with achievement. Always remember not to let anyone else bring you down. The real Knights are those who get up and work hard. Unite the spirit, unite our heart to reach our dreams. Always remember, result never betray the process.
Here from Jaya Surabaya, I Mix Bustos calling the action with Mikey Reyes, Brian Williams with the basketball right now. Wuisang pulls it up for three, ties that ball game at 45 all.
Mario Wuisang picking up where he left off, hitting that big three-point basket, tying this ball game here to start our third quarter.
Chris Charles back in the ball game. To the X-Man down low. Single coverage on him. Alexander looking for teammates. Spin move to the right. Lays it up, no good. Brian Williams throws it over to Sandy Kurnawan for the first lead of the ball game by the CLS Knights.
And again we said it'll be crucial who comes out more aggressive or with more energy, and the crowd of the CLS Knights really helping out their team.
Mandani on the post. Mandani with a floater. Hook shot, no good. Brian Williams once again gets that basketball. Running the break is Brian Williams himself. Williams to the left.
Brian Williams really just doing everything for the CLS Knights. And that was bound to happen if your big man brings down the ball. It's either he commits a big turnover or he attacks all the way to the basket and gets that foul. And true enough, Brian Williams gets or commits that offensive foul. Ball will go back to the Slingers. Now, AJ Mandani, as much as he was a big of a factor against Tanduay Ala Pilipinas, has been silent all throughout this game.
He only made 3 points in the first half, early in the first quarter. So we will see how AJ Mandani will adjust and get that confidence that he lost or that he's losing right now.
Two-man game, Alexander and Charles. Picks it up, Hanbin Nang for three. Still struggling after that 14-point outburst in the first quarter. Leash to Wuisang. Wants a pick from Leash. Wuisang double teamed. Cross-court pass to Leash. Leash to Brian Williams. You said, Mikey, that he has that shot, but opting to kick it out. Corneawan for three. Corner three! That is good. Biggest lead of the ball game for the CLS Knights. And Coach Neo Bang Xiang is forced to call an early timeout.
Like what you said, Brian Williams has that shot, but who has the better shot? Sandy Corneawan hitting it from the corner and extending this lead to 5. What a start for the CLS Knights here in the second half.
And Mikey, as Coach Neo Bang Xiang is forced to call that early timeout, what do you think he emphasized during that huddle?
First off, they haven't been getting the right shots or the best shots possible through their offense. On the other end, easy baskets for the Knights, whether it be from the outside or the inside. So both ends of the floor, the Slingers really need to adjust.
Alexander to Charles at the three-point area, sagging down. He doesn't have the three-point shot, but goes closer as Chris Charles goes for the hook shot, gets his own offensive rebound, but great defense right there for the Knights. Again, running the break, but unforced turnover by Wuisang. Go to Alexander, goes to his left, gets fouled by Brian Williams.
The Slingers really just not hitting shots even from down low. Those shots, they hit early in this game, but now they're really struggling. But the aggressiveness of the X-Man giving him a chance for 2 free throws here. Unforced turnover there, though, for the CLS Knights. A wasted opportunity to extend this lead.
Now, Brian Williams committed his second personal foul. The first one was that offensive foul, that charge, when he ran the break earlier to start the third. And Williams and the X-Man having a few words.
But you have to commend the discipline of Brian Williams, playing a lot of minutes here. Well, the whole game, only committing 2 fouls here in the second half. So in the first half, he was really disciplined with his fouls. So now he has 3 left to finish this ball game off.
And currently, Xavier Alexander only making 2 field goals so far in this ball game, has been struggling from that free throw area. 5 out of 7 from the 4.5-meter line. 9 points already, or just 9 points rather. An unfamiliar territory for the X-Man. Splits his charities again.
And you can see the confidence just oozing for the CLS Knights, even with this pressure defense applied by the Singapore Slingers. Again, finding the open shot, Frederick Leash.
Mandani to the X-Man, pulls it up. No defense right there as Brian Williams just let it go. And the X-Man, right now, Coach Neo Bang Xiang with just 1-2-2 zone press. This was the type of press that made them run against Tanduay Ala Pilipinas.
And of course, just really trying to delay the offense of the CLS Knights and creating turnovers. And here, AJ Mandani gets that loose ball.
Almost a turnover for the Slingers. Mandani, step back, jump shot, that is good. A slight fadeaway for AJ Mandani ties this ball game up to 50.
And that's very good for the confidence of the Filipino-Canadian AJ Mandani, who's really struggled here offensively, but here 5 points already in the third quarter. To the corner. Desiree Jones has seen action again after a long rest. Brian Williams wants to kick it out to Sandy Cornyawan, but then he was partially blocked right there. Ball will stay with the Knights.
But you have to love the play of Brian Williams. Really comfortable putting the ball on the floor, attacking from the outside. Here he tries to hit his teammate with that over-the-head pass, although Chris Charles just really knowing where to put his hands on.
And that is the main adjustment, Mikey. We were talking about it earlier, that he wants to bring this man out, to bring Chris Charles up top and get that open lane in.
And really eliminate the shot blocking ability of Chris Charles. It's really worked wonders here for the CLS Knights, up by 2.
Charles has that jump shot, that height advantage. You cannot block that long and lengthy Chris Charles. Wuisang gets a pick from Williams, drives to the middle. Wuisang thinks about it, kicks it out to Jones. Good defense by the X-Man. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Leash with an acrobatic move, gets his own board. Reverse layup, but then turnover. Han Bingnan gets this. 3-on-2 break. The X-Man. Oh, that looks like a clear path foul on Sandy Cornyawan.
Big momentum shift here. If so, call for an unsportsmanlike foul is Sandy Cornyawan.
And that would mean 2 free throws plus ball possession.
Not going for the basketball is the Indonesian. So 2 free throws here for the X-Man, who has been struggling with his free throws, although we all know that the confidence of the X-Man will never link it.
And you're right, Mikey. This may be a turning point for the momentum of the CLS Knights as Xavier Alexander knocks his first free throw. If he does, if he gets to knock 2 free throws, they will get the ball possession back and perhaps score another one to get another maybe 4 or 5 point swing.
Again, a miss by Xavier Alexander at the line. But here they are up by 1 with the basketball. So we will see who will step up for the Singapore Slingers, who thought they had an easy time during that first quarter. But here the CLS Knights really just coming to life.
Alexander to go at the post. This is a mismatch. Delvin Go kicks it out to the open. The X-Man for 3. Too short. Rebound by the Knights. Wuisang runs the break to Freddie Leash, to Jones. Below. Wuisang wants to pull up. Fakes it up. 3 no good. Offensive rebound by Desiree Jones and resets to 14 for Wuisang. Jones. Cornyawan. Cornyawan now right wing for 3. That is good. Gets this crowd hyped up. 2-point lead. Go ahead basket by the Knights.
Cornyawan just really deadly from the outside. I thought he had that extra pass to uneven, and more open Mario Wuisang, but Cornyawan just really confident with his shot.
The crowd not liking that call. They thought it was just a piece of contact, but then foul call on Freddie Leash. 3rd team foul on the Knights. 2 more and they will send the Singapore Slingers to the line. Coach Neo Bangsiang, of course, the defensive specialist. This guy is no stranger to big games, Mikey.
Of course, being with the Slingers for a couple of years now.
And how is he as a coach?
He's also a player's coach. He really just listens to his team. His players getting info, getting insights from Xavier. Xavier actually has a lot of insights, of course, being a smart basketball player that he is. And being the one really controlling the whole game or the offense of the Slingers. Coach Neo really gets his input talking about Xavier Alexander.
Xavier Alexander right now with 9 points. Unfamiliar territory, not scoring much on offense. Gets his points from the line. Is the X-Man. 6 out of 8 right there. As you mentioned, Coach Neo Bangsiang has been really that mentor, that player's coach. That is why the Slingers right now are enjoying or have enjoyed the lead, but then they're no stranger again to big games. Even if they're down, Mikey, they can always be resilient, are the Singapore Slingers.
I think we have something going on here in the crowd.
And one thing we don't want to see are untoward incidents. And that is something you don't want to see. A
one thing, Mikey, is to support your team, but also there's another thing to commit inappropriate behavior. As our fan is being escorted out, and I don't really know who he was flipping, because they are home right now. So I don't see any Singaporeans over here. Check that, Mikey. It's 12 points by the X-Man, Xavier Alexander. But the better thing, Mikey, is that was controlled by our officials right here in the stadium. One thing we don't want to see are untoward incidents. X-Man, 13 points. Wants to tie this game up. Again, splits the charities. And so fast-paced action, Mikey. We're only less than 5 minutes left in the third. Huisang, again, picks it up. Huisang with a floater. Too strong on that play. Delvin Go gets that rebound. But then great defense, great hustle by Freddie Leash to Huisang. For the layup, no! Failed to see, recognize Brian Williams down low. Williams again on the post, guarded by Charles. Williams banging his way through. Great handoff for Freddie Leash. Almost gets that bucket in.
Almost the three-point play there for Freddie Leash. But Brian Williams, the vision, waiting for the double team to come in. And as soon as Delvin Go approaches him, giving that ball up.
And Delvin Go was so focused on doubling Brian Williams that he forgot to see Freddie Leash right behind him.
Freddie Leash also quiet in our basketball game so far. So these free throws will really help him get his rhythm, find his rhythm, and maybe contribute a little bit more on offense for the CLS Knights.
Freddie Leash, 3 points, 5 rebounds, contributing to the hustle and the pause on the defensive end for the Knights. Charles looking for a teammate. He wants to set this up. Charles again up top. Han Bin Nam. He has a 3-point shot. Goes to go down low. This is a mismatch by him and Gurnyawan. Spins to the right. 3-pointer. No good. Knights wants to run the break, but then Decoray Jones. That was great defense by the Slingers. Forced him for that travel.
The Slingers getting the ball back, although the Knights really making stops here for that unforced turnover. Cost them that possession.
And the biggest lead of the Knights was 5 at 50 to 45. Alexander to Charles. Back again to the X-Man. Sagging down is Decoray Jones. Charles looking for a teammate. 13 seconds left on the clock. Wants to pass it down low, but Charles recovers. Charles! Again with that height advantage with that short half-hook.
Chris Charles, they need him right now to be more aggressive and active on offense, especially as they are trying to look for ways to score the basketball. As the other players have really cooled down, talking about Han Bin and Delvin Go.
And Decoray Jones settling for that short corner jump shot. He pointed it out, Mikey, that he needs to go more aggressive down low and sleeping on the defense. On that transition defense are the Knights. That's why the X-Man was just aggressive down low, fished for that foul. Now, Mikey, if you're a free throw shooter, what goes on through your mind, whether it's the first, the second, or the third quarter, when fatigue is running through your veins?
Well, honestly, it's all about your mentality every time you step behind the free throw line. Of course, it's the same routine you've been doing all your life, or if you change it, I mean, you practice it every day. I'm sure all of these players have really put in the time to practice their free throws. So the way you shoot the basketball will have to be the normal way you shoot the basketball. So it's all about mental and really being able to focus on that shot, even though you've missed a couple before this.
And that is true. 8 out of 13 from the free throw line is Xavier Alexander. So many times he has been to that charity line. He split those free throws. And as you mentioned, it is a routine. It is something that you've been waiting for all your basketball life, is going to that foul line, making those free throws, and finally he converts 2 out of 2. Again, the Slingers are up by 1, 58 to 57. Huisang being doubled.
to Williams. Foul again called on a slinger. And the Slingers not yet on the penalty. Wuisang will throw the inbounds down low to Williams at the post. He will look for Gimilang to Wuisang. Up top, gets a pick, rejects that pick. Step back, jumper, too strong. Smooth move though there for Mario Wuisang. Unfortunately, did not connect on the basket. And here, the Singapore Slingers, a chance to extend the lead. Han Bin Nam for 3, although a bad foul there for Freddie Leash. And Han Bin Nam will be awarded 3 free throws and a chance to regain his stroke at the free throw line. And Han Bin Nam has been 4 out of 5 since that first quarter. Has not made a 3-pointer ever since. But then perhaps this may be the confidence booster as he is fouled at the 3-point stripe. Also a great free throw shooter is Han Bin Nam. That's a Coach Coco. Also a player's coach from the CLS Knights. Han Bin Nam on his second free throw. 15 points for Han Bin Nam. Now currently, Mikey, the adjustments. They've been adjusting all game long. Speaking of the Slingers and the Knights, what has been the most evident for you coming in from both teams? I think it's the confidence of the CLS Knights. In that first quarter, you saw them. They were pretty lost both on offense and defense. And they really didn't know how to stop the Singapore Slingers. And on the other side, really the lack of confidence. Because in the first quarter, you saw that in the eyes of the Singapore Slingers really wanting to win and wanting to finish this game early in the first. So big adjustments for both coaches, talking about Coach Coco and Coach Neo. So we will see how they will adjust again after this timeout. And Mikey, you talked about confidence. Currently, the CLS Knights are at 1-5. How big will this be of a confidence booster just in case they get this win against the Slingers? Of course, that will push them up the standing and a little closer to the Malaysia Dragons. So I'm sure at the back of the minds, their focus really is to get this win at home for their crowd, of course. And that is the adjustment, that 1-2-2 zone press that Xavier Alexander anchors, forces that turnover. Once again, lead by the Slingers is stretching to a 2-possession game. Great defense right here by the Slingers. Again, another steal for the Slingers. An offense created by defense here for the Singapore Slingers as Chris Charles finding Han Bin Nam again for the 3. And there we go, the confidence, like what we were saying. Finding his stroke again with those 3 free throws and hitting another one from the outside, talking about Han Bin Nam. And Han Bin Nam only needed those shots to come in to get his confidence back again. Lead back to the Slingers, 9-point lead, 66-57. Williams against Low. To the short corner. This is a great move down low by Sandy Cornellan. Or make that Gemilang as he ices. Kind of cools the momentum for the Slingers. Offensive rebound by Singapore. 14 on the clock. The X-Man setting it up. Han Bin Nam to Low. To Charles against Williams. This is a familiar matchup, but in greater defense by Brian Williams, running the breaker in the Knights. Oh, great block right there by Xavier Alexander. Just a fast-paced Transition for both teams. 3-point for the Slingers, no good. Loose ball foul called on Lowe, Russell Lowe. Action starting to pick up here as the tempo of this basketball game starting to get quicker or get faster. Thanks to also the defense of the Singapore Slingers really just being aggressive with that 1-2-2 zone press. And that 1-2-2 zone press kind of stretched that lead for them. 66-59. The Knights even led by as much as 5 points at 50-45 sometime in the third quarter. And then momentum back to the Slingers. Williams. Up top. CLS. Hidayat thinks about it. To Williams up top again. This has been his go-to move coming from up top. Passes it to the short corner. Jump shot. No good. But a foul will be called on Chris Charles as he wasn't able to box out Williams properly.
Again, the weight advantage or the strength advantage of Brian Williams causing problems for Chris Charles. And just really knowing that he is quicker when it comes to putting the ball down on the floor and attacking Chris Charles from the outside, trying to create situations for himself and his teammates.
And substitution called on the Singapore Slingers. Delvin Goh checks in for Chris Charles. Perhaps a much quicker lineup. Giving out for three. That is good. For Nguyo, rather.
And the Filipino. They're contributing for the CLS Knights. Big shot there, stopping the momentum of the Singapore Slingers. And just one stop here is all CLS needs.
8 seconds left. They have to be able to convert a shot, but then CLS Knights committing that unnecessary foul with 5 seconds left to go in the third quarter. We're talking about that Nguyo, or maybe that Nguyo, the Filipino, made a big three-point basket.
And here Coach Neo, really the adjustment and the mind of Coach Neo in full display here, losing that big lead, but again gaining the confidence back and the momentum back for the Slingers.
Once again, Alexander in on the foul line. Has been sent to that area multiple times all throughout this game and just silencing the crowd. If he makes this, CLS has 5 seconds to be able to come up with a decent shot. 6-point lead by the Slingers. Nguyo again for the pull-up three. Just too strong and make that Gemilang.
Would have brought the house down. But that third quarter ultimately just a 3-point swing for the Singapore Slingers, now leading by 6.
And after 3, it is the Singapore Slingers up top by 6, 68-62. Just a quick recap. As we can see the highlights of this ball game, Xavier Alexander has been doing it all for the Singapore Slingers. Brian Williams has been the hefty guy for the CLS Knights, doing it all, boxing out, rebounding, playmaking, as he made that great baseball pass to Sandy Kernyawan.
And here Sandy Kernyawan again getting an easy basket or an open basket, coming again from Brian Williams, who has really just done everything for the Knights, and Kernyawan finding his stroke again in that third quarter.
2 big threes by Sandy Kernyawan earlier. That was the 3 from the corner and 1 from the wing, assisted by Brian Williams. Also Freddie Leash, he has been that spark plug on the defensive end for the CLS Knights. Not much on scoring though, but he was a big factor on the hustle and energy for Coach Coco. As we head on to the fourth quarter, just a quick recap. Singapore Slingers led by as much as 20 points. And then the CLS Knights were able to trim it down and even got the lead in the third quarter. And here in the fourth, this is when the big boys come to play. And we will see who will step up for the Singapore Slingers and the CLS Knights. Charles. Almost a turnover by Larry Liu. And Russell Lowe also the heft down low. Posting up, the struggling X-Man. But finding a way is Brian Williams to get a rebound. And Gio for three, that is good! And trims his lead down to three. Tough basket there for Gio. That step back three-pointer cutting this lead in half. Down to three. Chris Charles against Brian Williams, thinks about it, kicks it out. Mitchell Folkoff, the X-Man, thinks about the three, brings it in, kicks it out again, thinks about it to the short corner, the X-Man with that jump shot. Still no goal for Xavier Alexander, and saving that basketball isn't Gio. Wui Sang, spin move. Not much of a great idea down there, as he had no reinforcements. Great block by Chris Charles. Wui Sang finding himself in the land of the trees, asking for the foul, but the referee did not bail him out. But more importantly, they still have the basketball and a chance to cut this lead or even tie the basketball game with a three-pointer. Wui Sang again has his open lane. Good bounce pass to Brian Williams. In and out. Brian Williams trying to do it the old-fashioned way with that three-point play, although it did not go in. But two free throws here for Brian Williams. And that would have brought the house down. Every basket actually brings the house down right now here in Surabaya. The crowd was ready to erupt as we can see this great play, great bounce pass off that misdirection. Getting the contact is Brian Williams. But he misses the first free throw. Brian Williams evidently frustrated with himself. Williams on his second attempt. Trims this lead down to two. Larry Liu calling the action for the Slingers, the X-Man, with his weave, familiar weave. A familiar ball movement by the Slingers. Larry Liu for three. Big three by Larry Liu. What a big shot there for Larry Liu. Just when the Knights were gaining momentum and catching up with the Slingers. Just really putting the fire out for the Lights. Two-man game, no goal for Freddie Leash. Charles gets that rebound. Running the break are the Slingers. Folkoff to Russell Lowe, but a great defense right there by Super Mario. The effort from Super Mario here, just really wanting to win. The energy that Mario Wui Sang is giving the CLS Knights, considering that he may be the oldest player here in this roster. But still, the energy that Mario Wui Sang has for basketball in general is really in full display here in the fourth quarter. Russell Lowe with that hook shot. Typical big man move, no go. Freddie Leash wants to run this break. Wui Sang gets a pick from Ngio. Wui Sang kicks it out. And then a turnover. Not the best of ideas for him, but then lucky break by Mario Wui Sang. Almost a turnover. But then Larry Liu could not handle that basketball. So again, a chance for the Knights to cut into this lead. Only down by 5, considering they were down by as much as 20 or 18 in the second quarter to start the second quarter. Leash to Williams again up top. Two-man game. Great screen, bounce pass, great ball movement down low to Williams. Williams forces his way in, just too short as Charles picks up another rebound. Sorry, missed there for Brian Williams. But the Slingers really need to do a better job on offense to find easier baskets. Charles at the post against a smaller Ngio. To Russell Lowe and a big basket. Another and one play for the Slingers.
at the right place, at the right time. Russell Lowe knowing when to cut towards the rim, just waiting for that moment, and Chris Charles knowing also what to do. And finishing the play is Russell Lowe for this old-fashioned three-point play.
And to add to that, Mikey, great vision by the passing big man and Chris Charles. He did not force the issue, and he found Russell Lowe cutting towards the basket. Slingers up top again by a comfortable 7-point lead, 73-66. As a Coach Coco continuing to shuffle his players, making those late game adjustments to be able to salvage this game. The currently 1-5 CLS Knights badly wants a win. Wui Sang pulls it up for three, too strong. Alexander gets that rebound, running the break.
Not the best shot there for the CLS Knights. And as what we were saying, the Singapore Slingers ball movement, very important in this fourth quarter. And again, an easy basket for the Slingers. Again, coming from the X-Man, showing us the vision.
And good evening once again from Surabaya, Indonesia. This is Mix Bustos with Mikey Reyes. If you're just tuning in, this has been a hell of a ball game. Singapore Slingers went up early, as much as 20 points in the first half, but then the energy of the CLS Knights was able to trim this lead down and even got the lead, led by as much as 5 points in the third quarter. But then right now, the Slingers are currently in control with a 10-point lead.
The composure of the Slingers every time the CLS Knights go on a run. They really just know what to do, both offense and defense, stopping the basketball, creating turnovers, and scoring baskets at the other end.
Desiree Jones again in the basketball game to Wui Sang. Wui Sang pulls it up from the right elbow. That is good. That is swish for Super Mario.
Just what the Knights needed. A basket right there from Mario Wui Sang, and we will see if they can regain the momentum here from the Slingers.
Russell Lowe, down low, forces his way, or make that, yes, Russell Lowe with a turnover, runs the break, but then too careless with a basketball. Again are the Knights. Russell Lowe thinks about it, passes it up to a teammate. Settling down is Larry Liu, reposting is Russell Lowe, but then too much of a contact. He wanted to gamble right there on Xavier Alexander, a push-off by Ingio. Ibrahim Ingio from the Philippines.
And Xavier Alexander selling that play to the referees. You can expect also that Xavier Alexander would ask for the basketball a little bit more here in the fourth quarter, knowing that he can really control the offense, and he would be the best guy for the Slingers to handle that basketball.
And Mikey, another heritage import that has yet to see action for the CLS Knights is Rudy Lingada from the Philippines. And AJ Mandani was just limited to a few minutes. Not much of a factor in this game are those heritage imports. Alexander again being guarded by Ingio. To Delvin Go. To the post is Russell Lowe. Being guarded by Desiree Jones. Reposting is Lowe. He has that move, that fadeaway jump shot, too strong. Overstates that mark. And as shot clock expires, ball will go back to the Knights.
Good defense there for the Knights. Really forcing the Singapore Slingers to a tough shot. That turnaround fadeaway jumper from Russell Lowe.
And Coach Neo Bangshang shifting
his defense to a full court press, wants to keep the pressure up, not relaxing. He knows that the CLS Knights are capable of making a run right here. And we will see how this goes for the CLS Knights. Of course, the composure again from Mario Wuisang, the experience is bringing the ball down calmly and setting the offense. Wuisang gets a pick from Jones. There we go, decorate Jones, forcing the issue down low, but then blocked by Russell Lowe, recovered by Brian Williams, and he gets that foul again. Brian Williams just a force down low. Also on the conditioning-wise, we haven't really seen him rest all throughout this game.
Also, Xavier Alexander.
Yes,
has played all minutes of this basketball game. And again, Brian Williams asking for the basketball, going up against Delvin Go, knowing that he has that advantage, especially that deep in the paint. 2 free throws again for the big man of the CLS Knights, talking about Brian Williams.
Well, the 29-year-old has been around the world, sharing his talents also. Been around the ABL, turning 30 this year, this August, is Brian Williams, but showing to us his conditioning, even though he's pushing 30, but then he can play with the young guns.
He just a number for the CLS Knights, because also Mario Wuisang was just turned 33 or 32, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Has also played a lot of minutes in today's ball game.
Not giving up on that play is Brian Williams. Great drop pass down low to Freddie Leash. Now this guy, Mikey, Freddie Leash and Brian Williams have played together at the University of Tennessee. Played against Derrick Rose.
And again, the crowd of Indonesia coming alive. Only down by 5 is the home team.
Alexander behind the back pass to Russell Lowe, a big factor on the offense in the 4th quarter for the Slingers.
And the luxury that Russell Lowe has, being able to use both hands for that jump hook. That time he needed to use his left hand, but again, 2 points nonetheless.
Spreading the offense are the Knights. Almost a turnover. Brian Williams. He knew that the double was coming. That's why, he had that presence of mind to be able to get that contact and fish for another foul.
Brian Williams just really having his way against the Singapore bigs. Mainly Chris Charles, Delvin Go, and Russell Lowe. He's just really too heavy right now for the bigs of Singapore.
Currently, Brian Williams at the foul stripe again, proving to the Knights and to the Indonesian community that he is very reliable down low. Coach Coco giving some few words to the referees, or giving some few instructions to his players as the crowd is once again animated. As that the X-Man and our official are having a few words.
X-Man really just wanting to win, and he will do anything and everything for the Slingers just to get this win here, up by 6. And X-Man really just telling his teammates to relax and give him the basketball.
And Mitchell Fokov manning the floor to Larry Liu. This guy has that shot. That's why Leash is heavily guarding him. Alexander at the post against Nguyo. X-Man with a fadeaway jump shot, and somehow, some way, he gets Nguyo for that contact, perhaps hit him on the arm.
Nguyo just really bailing out Xavier Alexander. This is just a tough shot, side away, fade away. And clipping his arm is Nguyo.
That was actually great defense until that last action, that last motion. I believe Nguyo hit the elbow of Xavier Alexander. Clear foul as the X-Man shot was clearly altered. The X-Man right now, 12 out of 17 from the free throw line, 17 points with 6 rebounds and 7 assists.
And the X-Men again doing it all for the Slingers, whether it be rebounding the basketball, playing defense, or creating opportunities for himself and his teammates. Just another day in the office for the X-Man, but of course, he would want to get this win here going home after this game.
Just a score check, Mikey. Chris Charles, we were talking about the head-to-head matchup earlier between Chris Charles and Brian Williams. Both of them have 30 points apiece. To go with 14 rebounds of Brian Williams. The ball will stay with the Slingers, or make that the Knights. Or check that, Mikey. Brian Williams with 19 points. Chris Charles, again a heavyweight matchup with 16 points. I stand corrected right there. Thank you for pointing out my mistake. Wui Sang drives to the corner, to the left corner with a floater. That is a big basket if you want to make a run if you're the Knights.
One-legged fadeaway for Mario Wui Sang on the baseline, but Russell Lowe, again, the footwork and just really knowing what to do down low. Russell Lowe getting that shot back from Mario Wui Sang.
Perhaps Russell Lowe is the X factor in this fourth quarter. Desiree Jones, pump fake, kicks it out to Sandy Gurnyawan, drives baseline, kicks it out to Freddie Leach. Big three, if it goes, no good. But then rebound, offensive rebound. That leapfrog ability of Desiree Jones, fouled by the X-Man, Xavier Alexander.
Open shot here for Freddie Leach. Usually he would make that, but really just struggling in today's basketball game.
And just outstretching his arms is Desiree Jones.
And you see the effects of playing the whole game here with Xavier Alexander. Just really holding on to his knees and really trying to catch his breath for the last 3.5 minutes of this game.
And checking in this 3.5 minutes of this game is AJ Mandani. Jones against Lowe, drives baseline, turnover. Chris Charles recovers that basketball. The Xavier Alexander chooses or opts to, well, fine. A streaking Chris Charles, great vision, that connection between Alexander and Charles extends this lead to 8 points.
What a pass there coming from Xavier Alexander as the window was open for just a split second, letting it go at the right moment. Just waiting, and letting it go, knowing that Brian Williams was far behind, or a little far behind from Chris Charles.
And honestly, Mikey, I thought Xavier was going to settle down on that play, but then he saw that streaking Chris Charles. He recognized that Brian Williams was delayed on the transition defense, but then misses on that gimme is Chris Charles. Traveling violation called on the Knights. Great defense right there on the Singapore Slingers.
And the Slingers up by 10 here with 3 minutes left. Just really need to maintain and sustain this lead. They need this win to get back-to-back right after getting that win on Wednesday against Alab.
You're right, Maggie, because right now the Slingers are at 4-5 as Charles backs it up, gets his own rebound. Alexander wants to drop it down to Russell Lowe, but then was awarded with a 3-second violation. Too much time right there on the painted area. Now, Mikey, less than 3 minutes left. This is still a winnable ball game for the CLS Knights. What do they have to do right now to be able to get that momentum?
To just stay aggressive, really, especially on offense. Just really try to attack the basket and get quick points of those drives, or maybe even hit from the outside. They really can't afford to take their time.
Williams down low, thinks about it. Wui Sang, 10 seconds left on the clock, gets a pick from Mingio. Wui Sang, there you go for a three. That was supposed to be a big one. As you said, Mikey, they need to be able to make outside shots to trim this lead down further. But then just overstates that mark is Mario Wui Sang.
2:16 left. Still a 10-point lead for the Singapore Slingers, and we would want to see them, you know, be a little more patient on offense, knowing that they have this big lead.
Alexander to Lowe, or make that Delvin go. Two-man game right here. Rejects the pick. To Mandani. He has that shot. Mandani has 6 remaining on the clock. Liu. Pull-up jumper. That might be the dagger, Mikey.
And Han Bin Nang again. Just being steady
Of course, he had that outburst in the first quarter, but since then, he's just really been steady, hitting shots here and there, hitting threes and driving to the basket. And here we have a little commotion between Brian Williams and I think Xavier Alexander or Chris Charles. Tempers have been flaring here towards the end. Of course, the frustration from the CLS Knights is being felt right here. Brian Williams really just putting his imprint on this game, but being down 12 with 2 minutes to go, I'm sure he is not feeling happy about this.
Well, as you mentioned, Mikey, the frustration on Williams' part. This guy hasn't rested the whole game. So, of course, the fatigue, the mental stress. But then good thing it was able to get controlled, to be controlled by both camps here on the floor, as the Slingers right now are enjoying an 86-74 lead. Looking forward, Mikey, to the games of these guys. If Singapore Slingers does win this ball game, their season series will go up 3-0. Singapore leads that, and they have one more game to settle the score. At the first game, Mikey, Singapore won against the Knights on November 26, 77-66. They got their second win against the CLS Knights again last December 13 with an 8-point victory. And right now a 14-point lead enjoyed by the Slingers. Really, the Slingers have had the number of the CLS Knights, knowing how to attack the Knights' defense and knowing how to defend their offense. Really doing wonders for the Slingers. And now, with a minute left, expecting that they get this win, they're at 50% for the season. 5 wins and 5 losses for the Slingers. And looking forward, Mikey, the CLS Knights, their next game will be on January 20. That is this coming Saturday at the Ala Pilipinas, right here on their home floor, while the Singapore Slingers are going home to the OCBC Arena. They will go up against the Mono Vampire Basketball Club. They are currently in 3rd place. So the Slingers having a chance to get back-to-back wins on Friday against Mono Vampire. And timeout called right here by Coach Neo Bang Xiang. As we can see this last play, I think the refs are still going to review it. But then right now, Mikey, let us talk about moving forward. Currently, the Singapore Slingers are at the 5th place at 4-5. If they get this win or make that, they will go up on 4th place at 5-5. And of course, placing is very important as we go on to the latter portion of our season, especially in the quarterfinals. And the Singapore Slingers is really gaining momentum here midway through our season. And well, to all the basketball fans who are just tuning into the ABL right now this season, we have been on for 8 years already. This has been the most number of teams in a season. Currently with 9 teams, 6 teams will go up to the next round in the quarterfinal round. It will be the 3rd seed against the 6th seed and 4th seed against the 5th seed. And then the winners of both will go up against the 1st and 2 seeds for a semifinal race. That is a best-of-3 semifinal series. And then the finals match will be a best-of-5 on whoever will advance to the finals. And as you said, Mikey, placing is very important as we near the half of the regular season.
Well, of course, if the playoffs started right now, obviously Hong Kong and Chong Song Kung Fu Long Lions will stay at the top. Both teams just losing once this season. And it's really like a logjam right after those 2 teams. Mono Vampire, Saigon Heat, Singapore Slingers, and Tanduay Ala Pilipinas gutting out for positioning. And this will be good. This win will be good for the Slingers, both for their confidence and their tally or their standing. Again, they will be at 50% at 5-5.
Now, just about the home team, Mikey, CLS Knights will go up against Ala Pilipinas. How do you think that matchup will be? You know, the imports in Brad Williams, Decoray Jones going up against Ronaldo Bachman and Justin Brownlee.
Well, of course, the adjustment of the Tanduay Ala Pilipinas with their new imports. Again, like what you said, Justin Brownlee and Bachman. has been rather smooth, except for that loss against the Singapore Slingers. But here we see, this is exactly what we wouldn't want to happen, especially with a few seconds left in this game.
Well, this is totally unnecessary. Hopefully things don't escalate further as frustrations have been kicking in. Honestly, there's no point in engaging in such commotions, considering this, Mikey, this is already a done game. With 40 seconds left, Slingers up by 11. Maybe it's best, Mikey, for these guys to cool down.
Of course, we wouldn't want to see suspensions for their next games, especially someone like Brian Williams, who's very a big role, the biggest role actually, yes. The biggest role with the CLS Knights, and they wouldn't want him to miss any basketball games, especially with the record that they have now. Each game will be very important for the CLS Knights.
If you're the CLS Knights, Mikey, you would not want to see Brian Williams get suspended.
And I think he is
for the next game.
Yes, he's ejected in today's basketball game, Migs. I don't know if that's an automatic suspension.
We will have to check that with the rules. But then just in case, if he does get suspended, this will be a big blow for the CLS Knights coming in against Ala Pilipinas.
I'm sure Justin Brownlee and Ronaldo Balkman will have their way, if so. But we will see. The good thing about the Singapore Slingers, Chris Charles, not biting. They're not buying the commotion.
That's true.
Staying composed, knowing that they have this win and they can look forward to going home against the Mono Vampire.
And looking forward, as you said, Mikey, a chance to get back-to-back wins. These guys, under Coach Neo Bangxiang, have been in the finals last year, and just pure postseason experience for the Slingers coming in at 5-5. How do you think, they will play it out against Mono Vampire? Their confidence, will this be a confidence booster to be able to go up to the standings?
Before this game, Coach Neil has been told me that really consistency has been the lost key for the Singapore Slingers, because he knows very well the potential, or the full potential of the Singapore Slingers. It's just really being able to play at that level every single game. And again, getting back-to-back wins will be good for their confidence and momentum as they go up against Mono Vampire. And if they can be consistent, they'll be really scary for the other teams.
And speaking of Mono Vampire, Mikey, that will be the end of their season series, as Mono Vampire is in Group 1, which means they will just have to play twice, one home and one away game. So if that leads to that part, it will be a big advantage for the Singapore Slingers, because they will be playing at their home floor at the OCBC Arena, especially with this momentum shifter, big momentum booster for them to be able to get revenge against the Mono Vampire Basketball Club. Mono Vampire defeated the Singapore Slingers by 12 points last December 6, 90-78. And right now enjoying a 12-point lead with 38 seconds left. 90-78. Mikey, for you, who has been the biggest factor for the Slingers all throughout this game?
Well, it's been a collective effort. Of course, in the first quarter, Han Bingnang, again, 14 big points to start this game off. And then the composure and really just sustaining his energy. Talking about Xavier Alexander, and then down low being controlled by Chris Charles. Delvin Go had his moments. So it's really been a collective effort for the Singapore Slingers. And you also have to commend the game plan and the adjustments for Coach Neo.
And speaking of collective effort, also this guy, Russell Lowe, has been a big part, an integral part of the stability in the offense of the Slingers. But a great defense right here for Freddie Leash, not giving up on that play. Freddie Leash contributed on the defensive end all throughout this game. Not giving up. Saw that opening. Got fouled by the X-Man. 26 seconds left. Has this chance to trim this lead down to a 3-possession ball game.
Of course, we would like to greet everyone tuned in all around Indonesia. And of course, we're also live on YouTube for the different countries. Of course, supporting the ABL, whether it be in the Philippines or in Hong Kong or anywhere around Asia. And of course, Mikey, the ABL or the ASEAN Basketball League has grown all throughout the years. Thank you to everybody for tuning in using the hashtag ABL8, hashtag make history. Today is a monumental day, Mikey, because it is a triple header between right now the CLS Knights and the Singapore Slingers, the Ala Pilipinas and the Mono Vampire Basketball Club over at Thailand, and the West Sports Malaysia Dragons and the Formosa Dreamers being played at Kuala Lumpur. So really a lot of ABL basketball happening right now. And the next games will resume on Wednesday. It will be the West Sports Malaysia Dragons against the Saigon Heat, the 4-2 Saigon Heat against the 1-4 Malaysia Dragons, and the Hong Kong Eastern Sports Club will go up against the Formosa Dreamers on the 18th. And of course, Christian Stan Hardinger, one of the biggest, factors for that Hong Kong club, also ready to play for the pros in the Philippines. The last 28 seconds here in this ball game, the Singapore Slingers hanging on to this comfortable 9-point lead. But you can see Coach Coco really still not giving up, forcing his players to play till the final buzzer, and you can still feel the frustration on his face.
Volkov. Hard foul by Buisang, but good thing it does not escalate further, as the Knights are on the bonus. Volkov has this chance to get his first point on the board. Volkov, one of the the first free throws on the board. Mitch Volkov, one of the more stable point guards, the utility point guard for the Slingers. And Buisang still on the basketball floor and still attacking for CLS Knights. Jones for three, overstates that. Leash not giving up, gets that offensive board. Mandani hustles for that play, diving for the basketball, as the Knights will retain possession. 9 seconds remaining. If both teams, Mikey, ever fouls, both of them are in the penalty, which means they will both go back to the free throw stripe. Big win here for the Slingers, getting 2 away wins. And I'm sure they're raring to play in front of their home crowd finally after those 2 hostile environments, although getting those wins, very important for Singapore. And as Alexander just wants to walk this off, but then Gemilang, or make that Ngio. With 2 seconds left. Still. No, all game long, I was confused between Gemilang and Ngio because they have the same body type. Also has the same game, but then, as I said earlier, the X-Man just wants to walk this off. Then again, back to the stripe. Converts on the first free throw. And just like Brian Williams earlier before he got ejected, Xavier Alexander played all throughout this ball game with 21 points and 6 rebounds. And rare call. He was called for the 5-second violation. Took too much time.
But that's his routine, though, really just trying to focus on the free throw. Good win here for the Singapore Slingers. CLS Knights putting up a fight, though, in that second quarter all the way to that second half. But ultimately, the Singapore Slingers just really taking control on the CLS Knights home floor.
And this was a great ball game, back and forth action, especially in the third quarter. Things got chippy, as we near towards the fourth, as as the game was supposed to be over. But then right now, what is important is for the Slingers is that they got their win today. Back-to-back wins, going up to 5-5 are the Singapore Slingers. Moving up to the 4th spot is Coach Neo Bang Chang's team. Big win for them. And heading on to their next game against the Mono Vampire Basketball Club. And again, Coach Neo asking his team for consistency. And that's what he's been getting. 2 big wins again for the Singapore Slingers. I'm sure Head Coach Neo and General Manager Michael Johnson are very happy going home to Singapore. Right, so once again, it is the Singapore Slingers prevailing in this big road win against the CLS Knights, 92-81. It was a great ball game for both imports. Chris Charles, Xavier Alexander, Brian Williams, also the locals, Han Bin Nang for the Singapore Slingers. But then, Mikey, your quick recap for this game.
Well, of course, again, the composure of the Singapore Slingers. Every time the CLS Knights go on a run, they know what to do. They know how to make stops. They know how to create turnovers, and they know how to finish. And I think that was very important for the Singapore Slingers getting this win, leading by as much as 16 or 18 points in that first quarter. Making a run are the CLS Knights, but ultimately really just taking control are the Singapore Slingers.
Now, Mikey, we've been mentioning this all throughout the broadcast, is confidence. You know, well, once you get momentum, your confidence goes up. But then how big of is that a factor for both teams today?
But of course, expecting the Singapore Slingers, we're just really expecting that CLS Knights would go on runs. And again, the confidence that they have brought to Indonesia, coming from their win against Tanduay Ala Pilipinas over in the Philippines against an hostile environment. Again, they just really needed to compose themselves and to just continue their game plan all game long.
Well, as we can see, the game summary, our final stats, once again, Singapore Slingers prevailing by 11 points. But then, Mikey, it seems like, you know, once you get to the rebounding department, usually the teams who out-rebound the other wins the ball games, but then it is a different story today.
Yes, because the Singapore Slingers also forced the CLS Knights to 19 big turnovers, and I'm sure they scored a lot of points coming off that. But really, again, the experience of the Singapore Slingers coming from a final stint last season during the 7th season of the ABL, really helping them out against big teams like this in hostile environments. So really, congratulations to the Singapore Slingers. As for the CLS Knights, again, back to the drawing board for Coach Coco and company as they again try to get a win next game against the Tanduay Ala Pilipinas as the Ala Pilipinas will visit Indonesia.
Well, Xavier Alexander with 21 or 22 big points. Chris Charles also contributing to that cause. Brian Williams did it all. It's like Xavier Alexander, both of those guys never rested all throughout this ball game. But then again, moving forward, the next game of the CLS Knights will be against the Ala Pilipinas on Saturday, and the Singapore Slingers will go up against the Mono Vampire Basketball Club also this week. But then, Mikey, your final thoughts for this game?
Well, of course, we're gonna find out what will happen to Brian Williams after that ejection. Hopefully, he does not get suspended because they would need him against Justin Brownlee and Ronaldo Balkman of the Tanduay Ala Pilipinas. But as for the Singapore Slingers, I'm sure Coach Neo will give them a little bit of a rest after those 2 big wins, and then they'll be ready for Friday against Mono.
Well, one thing is for sure, Mikey, that both of these teams did not disappoint. There are a lot of plenty highlights, plenty of great plays, you know, from playmaking to finishing down the basket. It was never an issue right here for this game.
Of course, the adjustments also of both coaches really trying to contain the runs of the other teams. Then we will see how they will adjust, especially talking about the CLS Knights.
As we can see the final highlights, Brian Williams finished with 19 points, 15 rebounds. Of course, Sandy Cornyawan silently put up with 15 points. And also the X-Man, Xavier Alexander, providing that cause, 22 points, 8 rebounds. Chris Charles finished with a double-double, 18 and 14. As Brian Williams adjusted Mikey in the second half. He started from the top, playmaking also with an assist for Sandy Cornyawan.
Well, of course, again, the locals of both teams stepping up. As for the Singapore Slingers, Han Bin Nang with 22 big points, 14 in the first quarter, and really just sustaining his presence on the offensive floor.
Well, no problem for the Singapore Slingers. AJ Mandani was silent all throughout this game. But then to the rescue was Han Bin Nang, 22 points, 7 out of 13 from the field with 5 3-pointers. As we mentioned earlier, Delvin Go was also a big factor. Russell Lowe was also a big presence down low.
We have to look at this. Brian Williams, 19 points, 15 rebounds, and 1 assist shy of a triple-double. So you can also really understand the frustration that was going through his head, seeing that they would lose this game after all that work he put in. But again, the maturity of Brian Williams will be put to test, especially in the next game.
And also Larry Liu contributing to that cause, providing some outside shooting for the Singapore Slingers. Chris Charles, 2-time World Import MVP, as Russell Lowe makes that basket down low. Also, Mikey, Mario Wuisang added 20 points for the CLS Knights.
Of course, Mario Wuisang, the experience and of course the IQ that this guy brings to the table. The Indonesian legend, as we all know, the Super Mario of Indonesia, Mario Wuisang, really just trying to lead this team. Whether it be controlling the tempo, creating opportunities for himself and his teammates, you can always rely on Super Mario.
Mikey, what can you say about the coaching between Coach Neo and Coach Coco?
Well, of course, it was a chess match. Like we said, it was a game of runs. It was first the Singapore Slingers coming out strong in the first quarter. It was Coach Coco's turn to adjust, and he did, trying to lead the CLS Knights back to this ball game. As we look at, again, our leading scorers, Mario Wuisang, the most experienced player for the CLS Knights, ended up with 20 big points. Brian Williams with 15 again, along with 15 rebounds.
And of course, Han Bin Nang, as we've been talking about it all game long, exploded for 14 points, made 4 big threes in the first quarter, finished with 22 big points. Chris Charles, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year for the ABL, had 14 rebounds. The X-Man, 2 assists away from gaining a double-double with 8 assists all throughout this game. But then, Mikey, we've been talking about this. This was a big win, especially a big road win for the Singapore Slingers.
Of course, this is what Coach Neo and, of course, General Manager Michael Johnson would want to see from the Slingers. Again, consistency and a collective effort here. 22 for both Alexander and Han Bin Nang, 18 for Chris Charles. And a lot of extra points coming from Russell Lowe. 9 points, Delvin Go in the first quarter. 6 points also, starting out aggressive in this game. So again, very important win for the Singapore Slingers. Very good confidence booster. And we will see if they can sustain that momentum going back to Singapore in OCBC Arena against the Mono Vampire.
And of course, Mikey, the ABL, the ASEAN Basketball League, never fails. Hot action right here at Surabaya, Indonesia. And of course, closing out the triple header here in Indonesia. For Mix Bustos on the call today, this is Mikey Reyes, my partner. Thank you so much for watching the ABL. Use the hashtag ABL8 and hashtag MakeHistory. We will see you again in the ABL come Wednesday on our future games. Thank you.